What's going on, everyone? I just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. I always wonder sometimes, if YouTube were to disappear, where would I go? Where would my voice be? Who am I? That's some deep stuff. I think I'm a little blown out. You won't know because I'll color correct this. Buy Aaron shirts. He has shirts you can buy.
They're piggyback riding.
Yeah, they're piggyback riding.
We're like bareback riding.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. Oh, God. All right. Oh, my gosh. Look at me. I'm messing the whole thing up. Okay, what is going on, everyone? How are you? Oh, man. Gosh. Okay, so we are here on a new episode. It has been a little bit of a whirlwind. It's so fun doing the solo podcast by myself because it's just me. I have to set everything up. For the most part, everything is set up. I would say about 65% of the whole studio is set up for lights and everything like that. I switch two switches, all the stuff comes on. But you might notice, or you can see that I might be a little bit brighter than normal. I have some overhead lights now on the podcast. I was thinking like the stand that I got or the stand that I had was a little bit taller. I don't know why I thought it was, but it's only maybe like 6'4". I thought it was like an 8-foot tall thing. So it's like basically a huge. It's for a backdrop. You put like different colored paper or different colored tarp, and you use it for a backdrop for photography. But I was thinking like, well, instead of spending like another like $26 for a tripod, and that's just another tripod that I have no more space on the ground for, use the space up top, and maybe you'll be able to get something else. And mostly it's going to be used for this. It's mostly lit for this, but I just kind of slightly moved them down a little bit and to use it for lighting me. And it's like hot. It's like 81 degrees in this studio right now. Because the air hasn't really been on all day, and then I came here and I put it on for a while, but then I had to set up and now start using audio, so I had to turn it off, and so because of that, it gets really hot. So, yeah, it's fun. We're here on, was it Friday? It's my new day that I'm shooting on this on, because I'm trying to like I told you guys, I'm trying to have every day be planned out well. This week was weird because I got a lot of more film stuff done than I got working out done. Now it's I have to balance the two because I'm so used to having all this time, and I would dedicate to working out because I was doing 2 days all last month. So I'm but then this is a new month, so I need to be doing something that's focused more on film because you should always be trying to better yourself. And this month I'm okay, I need to focus a lot on film, let's do a little bit upgrades on things. And so I added some more lights. So hopefully I'm lit a little bit better. I think the backdrop part is not lit that well. It's weird. It's a fun little game that you play in this world of film, especially in this area, because I really feel like it changes every week. It's so funny because I have these lights set up, and I'm okay, great, awesome. They're good. But then I keep adding lights, and then what I need to do is, honestly, if you could see the ground right now, you would be like, oh my God, John, why is there cords everywhere? So there's cords, they're all tangled within each other. They're just kind of there. It's all based on memory of how I'm even able to grab the right cord and unplug it and plug it to another thing. It's a very controlled mess. But what I need to do is I think that's what I'm going to do this coming week is basically do a rehaul, clean off all the desks, put everything into containers. I have all the desk space now where I can be able to instead of just putting on in stacks on the ground, I have tables and I have things like that I can use to hold things now. Oh man, it's been upgrades. That's really been what I've been doing. If you guys been wondering, film is crazy. Trying to I don't know what's been. It's just been just like a whirlwind of stuff. Was it whirlwind? Because this made me a weird contradictory. It's just been a interesting time for me because I'm like, it's summertime, changing of the seasons. We're like kind of like in like the second meter, I feel like, of getting away from COVID, but there might be a new strand. I don't know none of us really know. And I'm just thinking like, okay, John, like you sat back a little bit, you got your shit done. You got yourself in a consistent pattern. Now what is, let's do upgrades so you can do that consistent pattern at a better quality. And so now it's like, okay, now I have new pieces, new parts that I have to like now add into it. And then with doing that, there's gonna be a little bit of hiccup. So like to you guys, the shot just might look completely normal, and like it might look just like, oh well, I don't understand what he's talking about, like the color correction, or it looks overexposed. But to me right now, I can see the monitor over here. It sits like, to you guys who are watching, it's sitting right up over here onto me, because I have it connected. I have my camera connected to a TV, and my TV is big enough so I have this big screen so I can see everything. And I don't even know if it could easily be the settings, but I'm thinking like, I think this camera's a little bit hot. So I think my exposure is a little high, or my, I have my aperture a little bit, not my aperture, my iris a little high, or my ISO. And so we'll see. Or because like it's pretty fucking bright in here, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. That's another thing. I'm really working hard not to cuss anymore. I'm working really hard because like I've been listening to a lot of, I guess, clean comedy, and it's not because like I'm having like this. I feel like you should always have a rebirth of yourself like every 3 years, in the sense of like, if you have like this look, you should have like a look. You should have like I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's weird because like I'm in the film world and I put myself on camera, and so I feel like this is just a thing that you should do, and it's kind of fun too. But it ramps you back up, and it makes you. It changes the whole dynamic of who you are. Because people might like the old people, like people who follow you or something like that, like, stay following you, and they're like, oh yeah, he just changed. And then there's new people who are like, who's this new guy? Or like people who like you've seen, or they've seen you, and then yeah. See, this is the thing, guys. I have literally nothing to talk about this week. I have a few things, but like literally, like normally I'm like, when I say like, oh, I don't have anything to talk about, I have at least like 5. This week I have 3, and that's it. Because nothing really. It was so weird because I did like the bare minimum in the sense of working out. I did my 5 workouts last week, or for the last time I saw you guys, and then just ramping up on more film things. I just more editing, more filming, little stuff, like small things, but just taking lights and moving them. And that's usually why everything's in a freaking mess, because that's usually why like I need to readjust all my lighting and set it up where like everything's connected better, because it's just kind of all over the place. And the thing is, like, it's not that it sucks. The only thing that sucks is like when I do it, I just unplug everything. I wrap it all up to the tripod so everything is able to be collapsed. So it'd be the equivalent of me collapsing everything, and then seeing what goes what, and like, so, because like, okay, so in the film world, like you have like, you soldier everything up, and that's a normal film term, and what it basically is, you just like have everything like nice and neat. Like you have all your cords wrapped up with your lights, and your lights are set up, and your tripods are all set up next to each other, and it's just so like it clears the room for moving around. Because to tell you the truth, guys, filmmaking is a lot of kind of chilling out. So the camera, like the film people or the lighting guys, see, I'm all over the place. Hold on. Today we're having Mickey's again. I don't know why. I just had it. I still have tequila. I'm just like, I like beer though. I like drinking one of these. One of them I feel like is okay. It's okay. And I like Mickey's because Mickey's is a good thing. If you've listened to other podcasts and you've heard stories about Mickey's and the great connection I have with him. Rest in peace, Audi car. Anyway, but yeah, like I just need to reset all the lights, get them all wrapped up, get everything collapsed, to see like what can go with what, if I can maybe get rid of other lights, because I have a random small light right here that's shooting here. I have a whole 400 watts shooting here. I have like maybe 200 coming like at a weird angle here, and I think that's the reason why none of the back is lit that well. But again, guys, you probably won't notice any difference because you guys are seeing it in a color corrected form. Like you're seeing it in the best form that it can be. That's one of the great things. So, you know what? Maybe I should explain what color correction is. You guys want to know what this is? We're going to talk film. Sit back, listen to this. This is going to be fun. So when you're filming, what I like to do, so my setting right now on my camera is my ISO is 100. My aperture is at 5.6, and then my shutter speed is at 30. And so that my shutter speed should be at 50, because if you're at 100, then you should be whatever. So if you're doing your ISO, it's 100. So your shutter speed should be at half of that. So it should be 50. But I do it even lower because this room is a little bit darker than it should be in the sense of being lit. But I'm like, I keep adding lights. I even have these like Christmas lights that are going around. Like you can see them right here. That goes all around the whole room now. So like when I break down all the lights, I can keep that light on, and it keeps like this really cool chill vibe. And I just need to get like a little strobe light or something that shoots and like spins around light. And if I do that, I think it'll set a really cool mood in the sense of when I'm breaking things down, or I can just have it just to be in a chill mood, like in between filming, because you guys don't understand. Sorry, my back is like, oh, I just popped my back. Anyway, so don't you love this podcast? It's been absolutely, completely off the rails of anything. I don't like, to me right now, I'm like, this is an awful podcast. This is horrific, John. Like you should, like, if you're asking people to sit down and try to like listen to you talk, you should have a little bit more like direct and direction. And you're just like all over the goddamn place about like talking about film and all this stuff. But so anyway, but like, you set up your lighting, all that stuff, because I like to do a lot of in-camera editing. So when I get into the editing bay, I don't have to do a lot of correction, because I'm able to control it enough with the lights and my camera to get a really good exposure of the shot. So I don't have to do much in the bay, and I don't waste a lot of time. It's like the quicker I can just like pump shit out, that's the best thing I look at it, because I'm just a one-man band still. Not the best thing to be doing, but hey, you know what? Like I have a really weird, I wait, this is all I do. This is all I want is film. So for me, it's just like, a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people, like my friends that I hang out with are a lot of comedians. So comedians are just like, they're just some of the most like on stage, the most energetic people, but completely off stage. Besides that, like the most like they don't want to do shit. So it's like you have to really push them, and you can only push them for so much until they just shut down completely. So it's one of those things. It's like one of the great little like push and shove things I have with all my comedian friends, because it's so funny because they're all the same in that sense, and I love them to death. That's just why I love hanging out with comedians, because comedians are the funniest people, the most open people. They will talk the most shit. Like the whole thing is like, if the comedians don't talk to you, then they don't like you. But if they're talking shit to you and stuff like that means they like you. And the things you just have to talk shit back. That's the whole thing. You can't just be quiet, because that's what's weird to them is that thing, because that's like what normal people do. But what's funny is like filmmakers, we tend to be a little bit quiet people. We're just kind of like in the corner. We're kind of like just observing everything, because we're trying to think like, oh, this whole thing could maybe, this little slice of an event could possibly be a scene or a moment in a film. And that's also the other thing too, is like I've been thinking more in the sense of scenes, because I'm just like, I've been I'm like, okay, what's my next project? I just knocked out 2 short films, working on this. I'm assistant directing on this documentary, but I need to just like be focusing on my stuff too. What's something I can do that'd be really good practice and just like a good thing? Because like a lot of this is just practice for me. I love doing it because it's practice. And I'm like, yeah, I can maybe reap some benefits. Maybe if like one goes viral, or like it gets a lot of views, or if like I get a lot of subscribers, whatever. That's whatever. That is such a secondary thing for me, because I need to. My thing is like, I'm gonna be boisterous, and I'm gonna be like, hey, you should go check out my shit. But I'm also like, hey, yeah, like I have to do a lot of grunt and like trench work before I get your guys' respect or viewers' respect, and then like you guys will just come automatically. It's just like I have respect for the whole thing, and that's that's the one thing that annoys the hell out of me with a lot of people, because they're always like, well, if they can't make money off of it, then like what's the point of it? And it's like, it's not about that. Sometimes it is that eventually will come, that comes, but you have to put in that fucking work. You just can't expect to be able to get it off the bat. And then like maybe too, I always feel like maybe I suffer from like what is it, like just some sort of like imposter syndrome in some sense, that I'm like, well, like John, like you do this all the time, like you pump this shit all the time, like this stuff's easy for you, like this is like you do this in your sleep. Like the hardest thing, the thing that takes the longest time is just simply just setting things up. Once you push record on your audio in the camera, it's just like you just talk. That's no problem. But it's just like you just got to put in that time and that effort. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to get back to the color correction thing. Don't think I forgot about it. Don't think I forgot. It's like you understand. As a director, it's like dude, I've been watching so much Quentin Tarantino films, and I've watched Pulp Fiction 8 times in the last week, just because it's just like the scenes in that movie are so awesome. Like almost every scene in that movie is perfect, and how he places it. The fact that, spoiler alert, he kills John Travolta in a part of the movie, but then like he continues like moving on, and he's still in the movie. But the thing is, like, we all know he's dead, but it's just like how it's set up is like the past, present, and the future, how it's all mixed up and around. It's just an amazing sense of like structure. And I'm just like, God damn it, this movie is so good. This movie is so good. And so if you've never seen Pulp Fiction, you need to really watch that. And it's been at my job too. We have a movie theater at my job, and so it's been on running. And so I was like, always like, oh yeah, oh there it is. It's like, oh fucking yeah. It's like that movie's so good. And do you know they Quentin Tarantino, he just did a podcast with Joe Rogan. I believe it was like he did it last week, or I guess by the time you see this, it's been 2 weeks from now. And he talks about Pulp Fiction and how John Travolta. I said it like I've said it different 3 times. You know what's insane? 3 different times. Sorry, foreigner. That's what happens when a foreigner speaks one of those American languages. But he was talking about how he wanted that John in the movie, and then the studio heads were like, "No, we don't want him," because he was able, like, when you as a director, you get one of these movies, your movie gets greenlit and it's going to be made. So then like you have to make a list of all the actors that you would want in this movie, and so then they send that script out. And then, like, at that point, some of the actors will be like, nah, I'm good. Or, like, I can't do this because I'm doing another film. Or they're like, yeah, let's fucking do this. I would love to try out for it. And then at that point, you would have, like, your 2, 4, 9, and your 12th, like, actor that you wanted. And you can just, like, fuck yeah, I want to I want to do a casting interview with them. And then our casting audition. So they come in, you read some lines, they record it. It's basically something like this, and then that's it. Then you just rewatch it again. It's. I would say casting is the most tedious thing. What's so funny though? That's what I was in for. I was in it for about 2 years, two in like a couple months. I was a casting director. I was an assistant to the casting director who did Independence Day. It's that person. You can go look them up. And yeah, I was there. It was so cool. So like I worked on a whole bunch of different things, and it was awesome because I was assistant, so I was always reading scripts, and I was always reading lines, and so like I really do feel like that was I would say that was probably the best job I had in the film world so far, just because of the things I learned, like dialogue. I read so much dialogue, so much. I read so many scripts all the time. Had to sign so many NDAs all the time. Like I knew the endings to certain scripts before everyone else, the general public. I'm like, oh my god, this is how it's gonna end. They're like, yeah, that's how it's gonna end. I'm like, oh, that's fucking crazy. Like that's insane. Like I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then like, yeah, John, now you need to sign this. So if you tell anybody or if this script gets out of your possession, we will sue you for everything. And that's how those things work. It's insane. Those things are serious too. You got to be real serious. And like it was funny because like I was assistant director. Not assistant director. I was assistant to the casting director, but then I was also a nanny for a family in Beverly Hills. It was that. Then at like I would go and pick up their kids up in their Porsche or their Lexus, and yeah, because they had two Porsches and they had a Lexus SUV, and you know how awesome it was. I was 20 at that point. I was 22, and I was like, I would go and just do things. I'd drop the kids off at the pool because they had swim lessons or they had like Korean language lessons, and so then during that time I would have to go do errands for the father who was a lawyer. He went to Harvard Law, and so it was so insane. And like they had like a miniature golf course around their big ass fucking house. It actually wasn't. It was like a ranch style, so it was like very big, but it wasn't like super. It was really smart, and it was very economical how they did that. And it was working for that family. That was also really fun too, because I would be standing there and like they would be talking Korean and they would talk to me in English, and they would ask me some questions about like some personal questions. It's like, where'd you go to school? You went this to school. Like, what do you do? Like, what did your parents do? Like, how was it growing up? Like, when was like the last time you drank some alcohol? And then like, okay, now we're going to go back and we're going to talk in Korean now and talk about you. And they were very open and honest about it. And I thought it was hilarious because I was just like, this is so awesome that they were so blunt. And then when they would always critique me on how I drove, they're like, John, like, because I would have to drive them everywhere. They're paying me. So why would they not have me drive them as well? And I had to sign a contract with them, like saying like, if I got in a car accident, then I would have to get drug tested, and I would have to, then if I had any drugs or anything in my system, then I'd be liable for the payment for the cars and stuff like that. It was because he was a lawyer. So like I signed all these contracts all the time. And that wasn't even like one of the craziest. The craziest ones I signed was I was going to be one of the writers, the assistant writers for the movie The Kids Are All Right. And I was working with the head writer, and I met with him. I remember going to his condo, and we were talking, and he was kind of smug, and I was like, whatever. I'm like, he's just a writer. So like, I'm like, but he is in the industry. Like I should be, just take it, just deal with it. It's going to be a great learning experience. So, just bite your tongue, just bite your fucking tongue. And especially at that time, because I was 22, almost 23, and I was still working as the assistant and also the nanny. And I was trying to just get into, I'm just working my ass off getting industry, or just like trying to get jobs into it. Cause I'm just like, I need to get, like, I was just barely getting by with paying rent in LA and just like trying to just live in LA, like, and as being an artist. Like at that point, I was sleeping on a mat that was like that thick, and I was doing it too. Cause like I could have easily gotten a bed, but I was like, no, I want to be an artist, and I want to, live the life and be able to have the story. Cause everything is a story. Cause that's what you got to do to be a filmmaker. You have to have these crazy stories. You have to live this interesting life that's different than everybody. It's like, I don't think you really got to do that. I think you just got to make scripts. Just write scripts, and hopefully one of them fucking gets sold. And like that's it. It's just like the more you do, the better chances you have. That's kind of the thing I got. But that you don't know any of this stuff. Like, I'm 32 years old now, so I'm a little bit more intelligent, have a little bit more years under my belt, and working in the film world, doing a bunch of different shit. And so it was just, I was working for that, and I met at that guy's condo, and I was like, I remember meeting him the first time, like, he's such a fucking cocksucker. But I'm like, all right, whatever. So then we'd have a couple meetings. We went to this, like, onto the Fox lot, and we went into this writing room. We were just sitting there, and we were like, we're writing. I'm like, fuck yeah. And like, this was like 2 days, then like 3 days went by, and they all like called us into the office one by one, and they're like, hey, we need you guys to sign this paperwork. I'm like, all right. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, I'm like thinking like maybe I might be getting paid a little bit of money, like, or I was like, they're gonna figure out like, okay, I need to write down like my banking information, so I'm gonna finally start getting paid. So what ended up happening was they're like, hey, we need you to sign this paperwork. What this says, basically saying that like you're gonna be working on this script, but you're not going to be getting any credit. And I'm like, no. I told him right there, like, no. I'm like, and I brought the main writer in. I'm like, what we can do is that like you're going to give me at least like, and John Clauser helped write this. If not, I'm not going to be part of this at all. And I just left. I'm like, and they're like, no, you're not going to get any credit for it. And like, so I'm going to just be ghostwriting a fucking script and have all like the shitty end of it. Not that it's shitty, but it's just like the hard part of the writing process. But I don't get to reap any of the rewards of the fact of saying that like, hey, there's my name on a Hollywood film. I'm like, I'm good, dude. I'm totally cool. And like, because to me it seems like it's pointless. I'm like, I'd rather do my own shit then at that point, and then definitely not get any credit on any big thing, versus and get all the benefits of all of it, versus like doing this thing and I'm not gonna get to reap any benefits of it. What, maybe get a pat on the back? You're gonna pay for my food for a month while we write this shit. Like, that's it. Like, I'm like, you're gonna give me free coffee. I'm gonna have like a toilet where I can go and I can take a shit. Like, that's it. Like, I'm good. I'm good. And also, like, I went and I asked my lawyer about it too. Like, the lawyer I was the manny for, and he's like, no, that's fucking stupid, dude. That'd be dumb as hell. I'm like, all right, awesome. So that was that. And what else? Oh, the color correction thing. So when you're doing this, like, I'm filming, I'm a little blown out. So what you do is you can like color, and you can basically change the exposure, the color temperature of the shot. And then it's like the exposure, saturation, and the saturation, the color, and exposure. That's what it is. Those three things. And it's a good time. It is a really good time. So yeah, like, we have like about a minute 45 left, and wow. Well, I was hoping to try to get this done by like 10:30. It's like 11:40 or 11:50 actually. And yeah, I mean, I made pretty decent time for the fact that, like, all I do is I'm going to film this tonight. I'm going to break down these lights, going to put them all in the corner. So then tomorrow I can set everything back up and get it how I want it to be now for a while. Because, yeah, I have lights all over the place, and they really make no sense because they're all like right on me, but there's nothing on the back lighting any of the back. And that's not smart. It's not good. And I really honestly want to get rid of those two lights right there and right there, and bring them out, and so I can just somehow light the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I think I'm always going to have lights in the back part, or unless I get some. I also thought about maybe getting a big just floodlight, but I'm like, do I really want to do this? Because if I do this is going to really change everything. Because then I'm going to have to then probably get different cameras, because my exposure rate's not going to be able to go down small enough to be able to, like, because it's going to be super profesh lighting wise. Now, me talking, nowhere close, super amateur, will always forever be amateur. But I hope you guys like this. I have like 16 seconds left. So like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys on the next episode. Yeah. Follow me on Instagram, all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, well, then thank you for watching anyway. Be safe. Oh man, that scared the shit. Did you see me jump there? All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the next episode.